Good morning, afternoon, and evening to all the distinguished guests gathered here from across the globe. My name is Paul Bharadwaj, Research Associate at the Global Alliance for Good Health and Well-being, promoted by the Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade. Today, we come together to address one of the most fundamental pillars of human prosperity and development, good health and well-being. The importance of health cannot be overstated. It is the foundation upon which we build vibrant communities, productive economies, and thriving societies. As we navigate through the complexities of the 21st century, ensuring the health and well being of all individuals remains a paramount objective. Good health and well being encompass more than the absence of disease, it includes physical, mental, and social well being and requires a comprehensive approach that addresses the broader determinants of health, such as nutrition, clean water, sanitation, and access to quality healthcare services. As we advance in medical technology and healthcare delivery, we must also focus on preventive measures, equitable access to care, and promotion of healthcare lifestyles. We are honored to have Dr. Chandra Vinod Kumar with us today, a distinguished leader, Group Chief Supply Chain Officer, GNRC Limited. Dr. Kumar's innovative initiatives have empowered countless individuals to take charge of their health, emphasizing the importance of education and community involvement in fostering a healthier society. The Global Alliance for Good Health and Well-being is dedicated to promoting the development and implementation of policies and practices that enhance health outcomes globally. Our mission is to advocate for universal health coverage, support initiatives and innovatives in healthcare delivery, and foster partnerships that drive progress in medical research and public health. From a global perspective, the pursuit of good health and well being presents significant opportunities for collaboration and innovation. As we continue to face challenges such as pandemics, non communicable diseases, and mental health crises, it is imperative that we work together to build resilient health systems, promote health equity, and ensure that no one is left behind. Through concerted efforts, we can enhance the quality of life for people worldwide, contribute to economic development, enhance sustainable health outcome for all. Thank you for joining us in this vital endeavor. Together, we can make a profound impact on global health and well being. Over to you, sir.
Uh, Dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Ms. Parul Bharadwaj, for the introduction. It is a great honor and privilege to be a part of this wonderful event. My sincere gratitude to Mr. Santosh for providing me the opportunity to deliver a talk on building climate resilient, sustainable supply chains in hospitals. Here I'm going to share my learnings, my experience and views, and a few case studies. Well, as we all know that the sustainable development, it means to fulfill the present needs without compromising the needs of future generation. So when we say climate change, it is impacting our human lives and health in a variety of ways. It it threatens the essential ingredients of good health like clean air, safe drinking water, nutritious food supply, and safe shelter. That has the potential to undermine the decades of progress that we made in global health. Between 2030 and 2050, the climate change is expected to cause approximately 2.5 lakh additional deaths per annum due to malnutrition, malaria, diarrhea, and heat stress alone. Health systems can be significantly affected by climate change, such as through power shortages due to extreme weather events, floods, or fires, and need to ensure that they are climate resilient. Healthcare workers are also vulnerable to the effects of climate change with a potential impact on workforce capacity. At the same time, the healthcare sector it contributes almost around 5% of global greenhouse gas emissions. That means it is having a great impact on the environmental footprint. This greenhouse gas emissions is a result, as we know, it is from the extraction burning of the fossil fuels, which are all the major contributors to both climate change and air population. The healthcare systems are all very unique when compared to any other sectors, and they are all very complex in nature. And decarbonization strategies must take a system to have a meaningful impact to the society. The effects, whatever we take to sustainability, to improve the sustainability in the healthcare systems, should look at every step and activities involved in care, right from the supply chain and up to the healthcare delivery and up to the training of the healthcare professionals. The appropriate evaluation framework should be in place. That should possess a reliable metrics, should also be embedded into the healthcare performance goals. Whenever we plan a decarbonization strategies, it is essential to remember that the healthcare is fundamentally about people. The supply chain plays a pivotal role on it. Improving the quality of care and individual outcomes must always be at the forefront of any plans whenever we take to decarbonize the healthcare systems. When we say, now let us come to the topic, this building a climate resilient, sustainable supply chain. When I say a climate resilient supply chain, it refers to a strategic approach uh, that has been designed to ensure the continuous and efficient operation of hospital services despite the challenges posed posed by the climate change. The climate change can disrupt the climate change. It can disrupt supply chains through extreme weather events, as I was mentioning, due to rising temperature, sea rise level, and other environmental impacts. The hospitals, being this a very critical infrastructure when compared to any other sector, it requires a robust supply chain to maintain the essential services and to provide any uninterrupted patient care. Building a climate resilient supply chain in hospitals is very, very crucial, and it requires a comprehensive approach that involves starting from the risk assessment, supplier diversification, inventory management, infrastructure resilience, and sustainable practices, and technological adoption, and more importantly, the continuous training to the healthcare professionals, and also that includes a patient education. The climate resilient supply chain, it has gained importance, especially during the recent pandemic. So the traditional approach of managing the supply chain has fallen short, and it has left many organizations to suffer, and the organizations started scrambling. We know that the lean supply chain was in place, and which can be very highly efficient and effective, but they can also be a fragile, and it lack a key extra resources which is needed during unplanned destructive events. The organization which are all prepared to face such unpredictable and events like the recent one, the pandemic events, or any other events through floods that happen in a few regions, particularly in India, uh, and those organizations which are all prepared to face those kind of events, they always they will get a competitive advantage. So, what are the key components involved uh, in a climate resilient supply chain? One is, it starts with the risk assessment, as I was mentioning. It is identifying the assessing the vulnerabilities in the supply chain. That includes understanding the potential impact of extreme weather events and how they impact the healthcare delivery of medical supplies, and formulating the response strategies. When I say responsible, this is a flexible response strategies for various different scenarios, and especially the worst case scenarios. The another key component is the diversification of suppliers, which means establishing a relationship with multiple suppliers for critical supplies rather than merely depending on a single source, and thereby we can mitigate, mitigating the risk of supply chain interruptions. Next follows the inventory management.
So can you put up your presentation, please?
Can you able to view it
Not yet.
now?
No, sir.
Now,
No, sir.
is it? No.
No.
Now, Dr. Binat, you can begin from the, you can click on the share button, right? And then click on the PPT that you are presenting. Once you click on the share button, right, then it will ask which particular file that you want to show. Yes.
Is it okay?
Yes, yes. It's visible now.
You can put that into slideshow mode. Yes, that's great. Great.
Yes. The key components, the inventory management plays a major role. Maintaining a adequate buffer stock of essential supplies is very much essential to cover the periods of disruption. It includes medications, medical supplies, personal protective equipment, which everybody might be aware, especially during this COVID crisis, and any other critical items. And another key component is the infrastructure resilience. The hospitals should invest in making their infrastructure resilient to the climate impact. That includes a robust HVAC systems, backup power sources, and reinforced buildings. And the another key component is the sustainable practices, which mainly means green procurement, like giving prioritizing the suppliers who adapt sustainable and climate resilient practices. Those should be given importance, and it includes sourcing from the suppliers who use renewable energy, who is practicing the efficient waste management practices, and those who are all have committed to reducing the carbon footprint and implement the energy efficient practices. Another key component is the technology and data management, where is in using the technology to monitor the supply chain operations in real time, so that like it includes tracking the shipments, monitoring the inventory levels, and forecasting demand. And another key component is the partnershiping with the various government agencies, non-governmental agencies, and also joint industry alliances that focused on supply chain reliances to share their best practices and stay updated on the new resilience strategies and technologies practiced in various other institutions, various other sectors also. Then the last but not the least is the training and capacity building, which is training the hospital staff on the emergency response protocols and supply chain management during the climate-related events. This ensures that everyone is prepared to act swiftly and efficiently during the disruptions. What are the benefits? The major benefits, it's like the continuity of care, that uninterrupted service, ensuring that the patient care is not at all compromised during this climate-related disruptions by maintaining a steady supply of essential medical goods. And another key important is the cost savings, because it prevents the financial losses which are all associated with the emergency procurement and supply chain interruptions. Then community trust, that is more important, because it builds trust within the community by demonstrating the preparedness and resilience, ensuring that the hospital can serve as a reliable healthcare provider even during crisis. And the another key benefit is the regulatory compliance. It helps to meet regulatory requirements and standards, which are all meant for the disaster preparedness and response. What are the significance? The major significance are the uninterrupted patient care, operational sustainability, like this climate resilience supply chain, it reduces the risk of operational interruptions, which are all caused by supply shortages or delays. And this stability is very much essential, especially for hospital, for maintaining the hospital operations and avoiding the crisis. And they enhance the preparedness and response. The hospitals which are all prepared, which are all adapted this resilient supply chains, they can better face and they can respond to the disasters. This includes these hospitals will have a contingency plan whenever we face such a crisis. What is going to be the action plan B? What is going to be what all the contingency plans? And by maintaining adequate stockpiles and the ability to quickly adapt to any changing circumstances, that is which is very important. And the protection of the vulnerable population, that is more important. Vulnerable populations such as like elderly, the chronically ill patients, and economically disadvantaged, they are disproportionately affected by the climate change. So ensuring such a climate resilient supply chain, it helps to maintain their access to the necessary medical supplies and treatments and compliance with the regulatory standards. That is another regulation standards. Many organizations, healthcare regulations, they mandate the disaster preparedness and response capabilities. And another significance is the reputation and the trust. The hospitals, which with the robust climate resilient supply chain, they built trust with the communities by demonstrating their commitment to such, to such preparedness and reliability. This trust is very, very crucial, especially during emergencies and sustainability and environmental responsibility. This climate resilient supply chain, they often aligned with the sustainable practices, contributing to long-term viability of healthcare operations and reducing the environmental impact. And innovation, that's more important, because this climate resilient supply chain often involves adapting the new technologies and practices, thereby fostering the innovation within the healthcare supply chain management. And so these are the significance of a climate resilient supply chain in hospitals. And what are all the challenges in building such resilient supply chain? One is the extreme weather events, such as like hurricanes, floods, wildfires. These can disrupt the transportation routes, most particularly, and it can damage the infrastructure also, and it can halt the production at the manufacturing sites. And supply chain disruptions is another biggest challenge, because these climate events, they can cause widespread disruptions in the global supply chain that can lead to the shortage of essential medical supplies, which we had experienced in the pandemic. Then temperature sensitivity, as we all know, many medical supplies such as like vaccines and certain very, very critical medications, they require temperature controlled environment. So the rising temperature and power outages, it can compromise the integrity of the supplies. And another important, the main major challenge that we face is the infrastructure vulnerabilities. The hospital infrastructure, including the storage facilities and transportation networks, may be adequately prepared to withstand the climate-related events. And geopolitical and economical instability also is another biggest challenge, because it can exacerbate the geopolitical tensions and economic instability, affecting the global trade and supply chains, like like droughts and water shortages, those kind of situations, and they increase because obviously it will often it requires significant financial investment, which can be a barrier for many healthcare providers. And the supply chain complexity, the complexity of hospital supply chain, because it involves multiple suppliers, it involves many regulatory requirements, and it makes it difficult to quickly adapt to any climate related disruptions, because ensuring such compliance with the regulations while also managing the diverse suppliers requires a sophisticated logistics and robust coordination. For example, like for instance, even this during COVID-19 pandemic, hospital faced delays not only due to supply shortages, but also because of regulatory hurdles in importing the emergency supplies and getting approval for the new companies which came up in supplying the critical supplies that includes vaccines, etc. And the communication and coordination, effective communication and coordination across various departments, which are all very much essential, but it was often lacking. Then dependency on just-in-time, which was considered as a most fundamental and most popular method, and which is considered a lean supply chain model. And even though it is a well cost efficient, the hospitals started to suffer because they maintain a very minimal supply, because they rely on just-in-time methodology to handle, because those institutions which are adapted just in time, they could not able to handle such sudden supply chain disruptions and regulatory and compliance issues. That navigating the regulatory requirements and ensure the compliance during climate related disruptions can be a challenging one. So what are we have seen the challenges, what are the strategies, solution to overcome those challenges? And the major strategy is the diversification of supply sources, because instead of depending on a single source, establish relationship with multiple suppliers in different geographic locations, because different geographic locations, depending on a single geographic location due to some other geographic related disturbance. So we can, when we have a supplies from different geographic locations, we can get those supplies on time instead of depending on a single source, and thereby mitigating the risk of supply chain disruptions. And another strategy is the key, such as the investment in technology and data and data analytics, implement the advanced technologies like real-time inventory management systems and predictive analytics so that we can predict, and blockchain. This can enhance the visibility, efficiency, and more importantly, the security in the supply chain and the infrastructure upgrades. So strengthen the existing the physical infrastructure to withstand the climate impact, and that includes upgrading the storage facilities, more importantly, and transportation networks and backup power systems. And strategic stockpiling and inventory management is another important strategy. And sustainable and local sourcing, as I was mentioning in my previous slide, prioritizing the sustainable procurement practices and local sourcing to reduce dependency on the global supply chains. So local sourcing, near shoring, those kind of strategies will help us to mitigate the risk, and also it support the environmental sustainability. So the collaboration and partnership, that's another important strategy. Foster partnership with government agencies, non-governmental organizations, training and capacity building, provide continuous training for the staff on emergency preparedness, supply chain management, and also using use of the new technologies. And the risk management and contingency planning is another major strategy. Develop some comprehensive risk management and developing the contingency plans to address such scenarios. And lean and agile supply chain practices, implement lean and agile supply chain practices to enhance the efficiency, reduce waste, and increase flexibility to respond to changing conditions. And leveraging renewable energy sources, that is another important, and climate resilient design and construction. These are all the various strategies implementing a design and construction that can withstand such events like the damages that I incur due to this climate related events. And these are the strategies and solutions therein by we can overcome challenges. And building a climate resilience supply chain, it involves a very comprehensive holistic approach that addresses all these various challenges through strategic planning, technological advancements, infrastructure resilience, and collaborative efforts. By adopting all the strategies, hospitals can enhance their preparedness, and they will get the ability to maintain the essential services in the face of climate-related disruption and other emergencies. This not only improve the resilience, these measures, but also it contribute to the better patient care and overall healthcare system stability. During COVID pandemic, healthcare organizations, as we all know, it endured severe fluctuations in the supply and demand of medical items, medical equipment, essential medicines, and personal protective equipment. And this COVID-19, it has exposed how to focus on the minimizing costs can reduce the supply chain risk and make it difficult to effectively respond to and recover from crisis. During this height of the pandemic, many healthcare organizations heavily invested in supply chain operations with the support of several temporary funding sources. And to understand this, to how the healthcare organizations are building the resilient supply chains, more than 50 supply chain leaders were interviewed in private and public sector across the industries. That includes the life sciences, government agencies, healthcare providers, academic institutions. The Deloitte Center for Health Solutions, the research, they find that organizational commitment and robust and strategic spending they are the key factors in increasing the resilience. Many of the most resilient healthcare organizations, they are looking at what's causing the supply chain challenges so they can use technologies and other solutions more thoughtfully. One should look beyond technology to enable resilient supply chain. In this research found that organizations, in particularly the healthcare organizations, they are not achieving supply chain resilience by leading with technology. Instead, many organizations are addressing supply chain challenges with their holistic solutions that coupled with technologies and other challenges. Yeah, the research study conducted by the Deloitte as I was mentioning, the findings are all like this healthcare organizations are all divided into 4 zones. You can see this one is a reactive zone where the organizational commitment is low and the low it is the spending is also low. Organizations which fall in this category, they are not proactively making their supply chains more resilient. They are focused on day-to-day operations and they deal with the disruptions after they occur. And the next zone is the inefficient, whereas here the low organizational commitment and high spending. This organization focus on continuing supply chain operations without major interruptions, and this organization spend heavily to address problems to ensure the supply chain remains operational, but often with expensive manual workload. This is second zone. The another zone you can see this the point solution zone, wherein this organization will have a high commitment but low spending. The organization in this category, they are agile and resourceful. All the levels of the organization, right from the leadership up to the frontline workers, they seek solutions to increase resilience in the supply chain in this category. They invest in niche solutions to digitize aspects of supply chain, but they lack the funding to layer the innovative capabilities into comprehensive solutions to make the supply chain fully resilient. The last one, the resilient zone. This is very, very important. Here it is the organization will have a the high commitment and the high spending. And this organization views supply chain as a very competitive advantage. They give more importance. That becomes a foundational to this organizational success. That this organization that the organization that built this kind of highly resilient supply chain, they invest in holistic solutions to digitize their supply chains and spend wisely on people, operations, and technology. In this figure, you can see in this interviews, when the supply chain leaders were interviewed, according to this findings, the top supply chain challenges during the pandemic are the data issues, labor shortages, and lack of alternate supply chain sources. And in these interviews, the supply chain leaders, they have shared their challenges that they have incurred during this COVID-19 pandemic. The most relevant problems include, as I was mentioning, is the data issues, labor challenges, alternate sources, and a lack of more than 2/3 of all these interviews, they experience data-related challenges such as data, particularly in data availability, data quality, and data integration. So across the board, the pandemic exacerbated the existing healthcare operational vulnerabilities and illustrated, it has highlighted the critical need to address these issues to respond to recover the pandemic and to prepare the future supply chain disruptions. Next comes the circular economy. This plays a major role in making healthcare sustainable. The zero waste aims to eliminate the waste by rethinking, redesigning, reducing the resources that what we use. While many focus on waste reduction within their organization, the role of supply chain is often overlooked. So obviously, the supply chain procurement, they play a pivotal role in deriving this zero waste initiatives as it oversees the sourcing of materials and services that form the foundation of the business operations. This circular economy, it represents a very transformative approach to sustainable development because it transcending a traditional waste management to redefine our relationship with the environment. It advocates for a systemic shift in how materials and resources are viewed, used, and reused, and not only merely minimizing the waste, but also fostering a regenerative economic model that benefits both the planet and also the people. In a circular economy, the resources are all optimal. Resources that when I mean resources, it means including the medical equipment, materials, pharmaceuticals. They are used efficiently to extend their lifespan and maximize their value. The waste is minimized practices such as like reusing, refurbishing, recycling are promoted to minimize the generation of waste in the healthcare operations, and sustainability is prioritized. Sustainability is at the forefront of decision making. Then cost effectiveness is achieved by reducing the waste, reusing the materials to the maximum, the greater extent as possible, and adopting the eco-friendly practices. The healthcare organization, they can achieve greater significant cost savings in procurement operations. The patient safety is maintained. Circular economic practices are all implemented in a way that ensures the patient safety and infection control are not at all compromised. So this may involve a stringent quality control and sterilization process and innovation collaboration. That's very much essential because no, this is to drive innovation and create a culture of sustainability. So the innovation and collaborations are greatly encouraged and entertained. Overall, as a circular economy, in response to the growing recognition of the environmental and economic challenges they facing the healthcare sector, and it is an attempt to address these challenges by embracing a sustainable circular practices. This concept has gained importance, gained momentum in recent years. No, as societies they started seeking more sustainable and environmentally responsible approaches to economic activity, and this transition towards a circular economy is very crucial across various industries, more particularly including healthcare, because the healthcare generates a huge amount of waste. The healthcare is a critical sector that impacts individuals and communities at both the individual and societal levels. And reducing medical waste, the healthcare generates a significant amount of waste with medical facilities that they producing tons of waste daily. So that is another. Much of this waste consists of single-use items, packaging materials, and disposable equipment. And one way to reduce the medical waste is to minimize the use of single-use items and plastic devices, and reusing the medical devices in the equipment. One of the central tenets of the circular economy is the reusability of the medical devices and equipment. In a linear economy, the many medical devices are all designed for single use, contributing to both the waste and also the cost. The cost is also increased and waste is also generated. So the transitioning from the linear economy to a circular economy, the healthcare organizations can explore opportunities to refurbish, sterilize, and reuse medical equipment devices and pharmaceutical recycling. This is another crucial aspect of the circular economy. It's a responsible disposal and recycling of the pharmaceutical products. Unused and expired medications often they find their way into the land fields and are disposed in the ways that harm the environment, and designed for sustainability. That's to achieve a circular economy. Medical product manufacturers they must play a crucial role in designing products with the sustainability in their mind. And digital health and telemedicine, that's another important, because this has a potential to significantly reduce the healthcare sector's environmental footprint. The traditional healthcare delivery often necessitates physical travel to medical facilities, which contributes to carbon emissions and air pollution. That leads to air pollution. And in a circular economy, the adoption of digital health solutions and telemedicine, most importantly, it can mitigate all this negative environmental impacts, and eco-friendly practices, hospital practices. That is another key aspect. And medical equipment, eco-friendly practices, which I mean the energy efficiency practices, water conservation, water recycling management, and green building design in particular. The hospitals can pursue green building certificates like LEED, which promote sustainable construction practices. Then transportation alternatives, that is another important. The healthcare facilities that can encourage the use of the public transportation for all their staff, and carpooling for the employees and patients. The providing electric vehicle charging stations can also support the sustainable transportation. Medical equipment sharing, that's another important aspect in circular economy. The sharing the medical equipment among the healthcare facilities, among the other units within the group and within the network of healthcare providers is an efficient strategy. That way we can reduce the waste to a greater extent. eco-conscious procurement, that's another important sustainable procurement practices, which are very essential for achieving a circular economy. And the healthcare organization, they can prioritize the procurement of eco-friendly products and services. And education and awareness, that is raising awareness among the healthcare professionals, patients, and also even the general public about the healthcare impact of healthcare practices is pivotal for success of this circular economy concept. And regulations and incentives, government regulations and incentives plays a major significant role in promoting the adoption of circular economy, the circular economy practices in healthcare, like a tax incentives, waste management regulations, sustainable procurement policies, and green building status. These are all the ways where through regulations and incentives where we can contribute to the circular economy. There's a concept of 9 Rs in circular economy, which means refuse, reduce, reuse, repair, refurbish. When we say refuse, the first R, that is the first R, where it encourages individuals and organization to refuse the item which are not at all necessary. So with items which are all not necessary or not sustainable, we should refuse it. The first thing. So this is the first R. The second R is reducing the consumption. It entails the minimizing the use of resources, energy, and materials in our daily lives and production process. Reuse is a fundamental principle of this circular economy. Extending, it means reusing the items and extending the lifespan of products, components, and materials by using them multiple times. Repair is another it is closely related to reuse, and here it focuses on fixing the products that have become damaged or non-functional. So repairing items rather than discarding and replacing them. It saves resources and also energy, and while reducing the waste. Refurbishing another important aspect. It goes beyond repair, because here it involves the restoring the products or equipment to a like new condition. This often includes the cosmetic improvements. Then next comes the remanufacture. It is the most advanced form of refurbishing. Here it involves the disassembling and rebuilding a product to meet or it can exceed the original performance specifications. And repurpose, that's another or repurpose, finding a new way of or applications for these items that may otherwise be discarded. It encourages to creativity, how to place it for any other purpose, or finding alternative functions for the same product or components or material. Then recycle. Recycle is almost everybody is a well-known and very essential aspect, particularly in healthcare. It involves the processing the waste materials to extract raw materials for the production of the new product. So this is another R, recover, the final R, recover, which here it focuses on reclaiming the energy from the waste materials, especially those that cannot be recycled. Like here, the techniques like waste to energy incineration, anaerobic digestion can convert non-recyclable materials into usable energy resources, reducing the environmental impact of waste disposal and providing a source of renewable energy. So by implementing this 9 Rs, the businesses, communities, they can make a significant contribution to a more sustainable and circular economy. These principles emphasize the importance of responsible consumption, waste reduction most importantly, and the efficient use of resources, ultimately leading to a more environmental friendly and economically viable approach to resource management. The significance, like reducing it can have an impact on reducing the environmental impact. It benefits, it brings in the significant cost savings and resource efficiency. It encourages the optimal resource utilization, resilience and security. It enhances supply chain resilience and security, improved public health. It can lead to better public health outcomes. Sustainable innovation. It drives innovation in sustainable materials, practices, and technologies, and regulatory compliance, which I've already said. Environmental stewardship. As healthcare providers, institutions, and professionals, they adapt circular economic practices. They become leaders in environmental stewardship and reduction of pharmaceuticals in the environment. Pharmaceutical waste poses a significant environmental threat when improperly when it is disposed of, or often contaminating water bodies and harming the aquatic life. Long-term sustainability is another important, and global responsibility. The healthcare systems are not confined to a single country or region. They are interconnected globally. The patient engagement satisfaction. Patients are increasingly concerned about environmental issues and sustainability. Healthcare institutions that prioritize the circular economy can engage patients by showcasing their commitment to eco-friendly practices, which can enhance patient satisfaction and loyalty. Challenges. One is the resistance to change, and another challenge is regulatory compliance, and another infection control and patient safety, limited resources, lack of expertise in implementing this, pharmaceutical waste management. These are all the challenges that we face. The supply chain complexity, because it is a very complex supply chain when compared to any sector. The public perception in using the circular economy practices, and infrastructure limitations. These are all the challenges that we face. And strategies is change management, regulatory advocacy, and standardization and quality control, and resource mobilization, training and education, training staff, patients. This can be an effective strategy. Collaborative models, and securing the pharmaceutical waste management and sustainable sourcing. And public engagement education and infrastructure. These are the strategies and solutions wherein we can overcome the challenges that we face while implementing the circular economy. And there's a big paradigm shift is happening in supply chain from demand supply aggregator to a cost quality outcome approach. Fragmented, really it was a siloed approach which is going into an integrated system. Technology driven, now it is converted, that is transitioning into a patient centricity driven. Efficiency focus, now it is becoming to a resilience focus, especially after this pandemic. Profit driven, initially previously the organizations were focusing into the profit driven. They are adopting a profit driven approach, and now it is transitioning into a sustainability approach. It is a holistic end-to-end approach that it does not only improve the efficiency and reducing cost, but also results in better healthcare at lower cost to the patient. A future supply chain model, it should be a robust, agile, most importantly a resilient one, a clinically integrated, and addressing the key intervention levers like price optimization, process optimization, consumption optimization, and addressing the three pillars of the sustainability: social sustainability, economic sustainability, environmental sustainability. Thereby, we can achieve the triple aim goals of the healthcare organization, which is a better health, better care, and lower cost. The benefits, it includes the efficiency, improved clinical outcomes, continual improvement, significant cost savings, improved revenue growth, maximizing value, better relationship between the clinical and non-clinical stakeholders, it minimizing the risk and maximizing the value, reducing the wastages and errors, and no or minimal environmental impact, and highest level of patients. And these are the benefits of the climate resilient sustainable supply chain. The case study, like while procuring equipment, for example, in the MRI medical equipment, the high energy magnets. So while considering, these are certain criteria needs to be considered while we procure equipment. This is like an example. While procuring the MRI medical equipment, this high strength magnets that require less energy for operation, improving the image quality, and improved quality cooling system, the advanced cooling system that can reduce the kind of need for that is adding another sustainability approaches. And power management software, smart power management software is integrated, and recyclable materials, recyclable and environmental friendly materials in their constructing, and that is aligning with the hospital's waste management, waste reduction goals, longer lifespan and upgradability. Sustainable medical imaging equipment is designed with a longer lifespan and the ability to receive software upgrades, reducing the frequency of equipment replacement and contributing to resource. So while we consider procurement of MRI medical equipment, when we give focus on to these major criteria, when we choose the equipments accordingly, we can have a significant impact to the environment and to the society. And this is another example related to the total cost of ownership. And this is a 5D music model, one of the most important. It's a 5-dimensional, which is very unique. This can address the two major challenges. One is the high cost of treatment, and also the other major challenges. All two major challenges in healthcare administration. The impact of the huge medical waste generated. This application of the novel 5D music model, it resulted in a huge cost savings and significant reduction in the generation of medical waste in the healthcare facility. Thereby, the healthcare organization is made affordable, sustainable, which means addressing the three major pillars: social, economic, and environmental sustainability. Here, the research methodology of how it is conducted, and the cath lab department is considered for this 5D music model. It's a key revenue because it is a key revenue generator, wherein most of the items are all highly expensive, which are all imported items. So the cath lab department was selected for the study. As I was mentioning, it's a 5-dimensional approach. Here, what are the 5 dimensions? ABC analysis, BD analysis, scarce, difficult, easy analysis, reusability analysis, different methods. These are the 5 dimensions which have been introduced, which are very unique because only 3 dimensions are used across the globe. And this 5D, when we implement it, we can reduce the waste to a greater extent, and thereby we can reduce the cost, and where we can pass those benefits to the patient. And also, huge waste generation is avoided. Thereby, we can a positive impact to the environment. These are the potential benefit that I was mentioning. Significant improvement in clinical outcome, quality service level, and patient satisfaction, and even the cost of procedures can be reduced to a greater extent by ensuring strict control and hygiene and safety. And this is another case study which is related to my organization. Here, it's a GNRC model. It's the largest healthcare provider in Northeast India. It's considered a very unique model which has been applied, which has got global and national level and global level recognition. Here, the foremost uniqueness and core strength is the focus on patient centricity, and that led to revisit the basic principles of healthcare service design and operations, be it physical infrastructure or engagement with community and several other dimensions. The principles of design thinking is adapted in this model. The hospital was constructed by the workers from base of pyramid committee, which can reduce the cost to a greater extent, while simultaneously generating income opportunities for the poor people. Here, another important uniqueness is the bamboo cladding is used in my institution, which is used extensively in building exteriors. It acts as a natural insulation materials, so that we have avoided the air conditioning in common areas like such as lobbies, reception areas. There we could able to save a huge electricity. The bamboo cladding is a well-known, it acts as a natural insulation here. This is a very uniqueness, and many hospital items which are all here like beds, OT tables, furniture, wheelchairs, face masks. These are all produced indigenously by the hospital itself to help economize the cost even further. There are other sustainability initiatives taken in this institution, and energy conservation principles applied in all areas. This GNRC medical model is considered ultra low cost, eco-friendly, economical, sustainable, which can be scalable, which can be replicable healthcare delivery model. The World Bank has recognized this model and appreciated this model, and advocating to take this model outside India to other parts of the globe also. And this is a case study done in about my institution, this global, the GNRC hospitals. This has been published in Harvard School of Public Health. Here it is highlighted that how an organization can successfully combine the patient-centered approach, like the two goals that often perceived as contraposed to each other, especially for the private healthcare in India. So this case study is published in Harvard, and this has gained, as I was mentioning, a global accolades. The Microsoft founder and philanthropist has appreciated this model, and like this one, even like it was quoted a digital native media outlet course. They mentioned that you can make a state-of-the-art hospital out of bamboo, and the World Bank Group, it has recognized this model and appreciated, and they have identified this model as a scalable, replicable, and financially sustainable projects that can offer solutions to the most pressing challenges, no? The social, environmental, and economic problems. And it's a solution for that. And advocating us to take this model to other parts of the country also and also globally. So by adopting this climate resilient supply chain, we can contribute to the environment to a greater extent. And the importance of the climate resilient supply chain is a multi-faceted. It's a multi-faceted impacting the patient care, operational stability, and disaster preparedness, compliance, reputation, and sustainability and renovation. By prioritizing the resilience in the supply chain, hospitals can ensure they are equipped to handle such kind of challenges, any kind of challenges posed by the climate challenge, thereby safeguarding their ability to provide essential healthcare services to the communities they serve. And now I really want to acknowledge and appreciate the efforts. I would like to appreciate and thank Mr. Santosh in driving such initiatives, discussions, deliberations, and dialogues. I really thank you once again for providing me the opportunity to deliver a talk, to share my thoughts and views and my experience, my learnings. I'm sure such initiatives, we'll be able to make this planet, our one and the only home, a better place to live in the coming days. Thank you once again. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir, for such an informative presentation. Here are quick questions for you. Climate change is causing disruption to global supply chains. What are the specific risks climate-related events pose to hospital supply chains?
Risk, as I was mentioning, it could be the most importantly, like for example, the recent pandemic, even the floods, because I'm from native Kerala, the floods could be a risk, hurricanes, fires, wildfires, even the transportation and damaging the most important, another important is the infrastructure damage. These are all the serious threats in healthcare, to the healthcare sector. And for that, we should know the supply chain is gaining importance, and supply chain, particularly the climate resilient, especially after this pandemic, because the future competition between the organization is going to be not between the organization, it is going to be between the supply chain, because that is much importance the supply chain is having. So yeah, climate resilient supply chain will help us to address, to overcome all these challenges and to gain a competitive advantage in the market.
Hospitals are critical infrastructure. How can we prioritize building resilience into hospital supply chains for essential medical supplies and equipments?
Could you please repeat it?
Hospitals are critical infrastructure. How can we prioritize building resilience into hospital supply chains for essential medical supplies and equipments?
Our hospital, the hospitals, they can adapt the building design, the standards, which are all which gives this the climate resilient standards, particularly this LEED certifications, and also by having this HVAC systems and robust the power back sources, and those kind of a different design thinking. So thereby we can mitigate the risk pertaining to the healthcare infrastructure, and by optimizing the transportation the routes and energy efficient transportation options. These are the various ways where we can mitigate the risk, and we can contribute.
Diversification is a key strategy for building resilience. How can hospitals diversify their supplier base and sourcing strategies to mitigate climate risks?
Supply diversification is the major strategy, as I can say, among the other strategies. That's the key strategy I can say, because the one of the major challenges that what we faced, especially during the COVID, is many organizations they were depending on single vendor. So diversification is always a better strategy, because we'll be so that we will have multiple suppliers options, so that we can even if one supplier could not able to supply, we can get those suppliers from the other suppliers. And also the choosing the vendors from different geographic locations. For example, if you depend on a supplier from a particular geographic location, if something happens, geopolitical or geographic any related events, so the suppliers will get affected. So better to have suppliers, but one is not to depend on a single supplier, and to have a multiple suppliers, that is one, and multiple suppliers from different geographic locations. And also the local sourcing also plays a major role, because when we depend on a supplier who's staying at a very distant place, that may affect our supply chain operations. So local sourcing, and also it adds to the sustainability in sustainability aspect also. Because it is like optimizing the transportation, because then from the local supplier we can supply wherein even the fuel is consumption is reduced when we get it from a local vendor. When we get it from a vendor from different region, then fuel for transportation those items. So it can add to the on the environmental aspects.
Inventory management plays a crucial role. How can hospitals optimize inventory levels without compromising patient care in the face of potential climate disruptions?
As I have presented a case study now, the 5-dimensional music model is one of the best inventory management technique. This I had presented in an international conference, and which has gained national and international recognition also, and it has won the best innovation award also. Because generally it is a 3-dimensional approach was practiced, wherein only ABC, BED, and lead time analysis was taken into consideration. Wherein here the 4th dimension, like effective utilization of materials, and 5th dimension of different process and methods. Because any procedure can be, most of the procedures can be performed in three different methods. Suppose the line of items for this methods is also varies. So suppose in case if no in any unpredicted, this kind of unplanned, this kind of events. Suppose if in case if we don't have those kind of line items for a particular process or method, we can move on to a different method where the line of items also different, the quantities also may differ. So by adopting this 5-dimensional, we can we can address all these challenges, and we can without compromising the quality aspects, and also by enhancing the patient satisfaction and clinical outcomes.
Technology can be a powerful tool. What technological solutions can be used to improve visibility and risk assessment within hospital supply chains?
Technology plays a pivotal role, like adopting various technologies, like for example the best inventory management software systems, wherein we get a real-time status, tracking status, supplier tracking status. Then e-procurement solution is one of the best option, wherein it is connected with the vendor, so we can track the shipments. And by adapting the data analytics and tools and the blockchain to enhance visibility, transparency, and most importantly, the security in the supply chain operations.
Collaboration is key. How can hospitals work with suppliers, logistic providers, and government agencies to build a more resilient healthcare supply chain ecosystem?
Collaboration plays another important one of the major strategy. It plays an important role in mitigating the risk, particularly so establishing a strong relationship, treating them as our partner instead of because most of the organization they deal supplier only for they deal only for negotiation, but instead of that they should be treated as our partner. They should be involved into our process, and they should be they should be in keeping them in loop, and let them making them knowing our plans so that they can develop their strategies to meet our expectations. Well, this is one of the another challenges faced by some of the institutions, wherein because sometimes the supplier is not at all aware about the institution plans, strategies, the goals. So when they come to know all this, when it is transparent, when we treat them as our partner, so and also like in addition to these external stakeholders, and also similarly the internal stakeholders involving the clinical stakeholders also. So collaborating with both clinical, both internal and external stakeholders play a major role in mitigating the risk and maximizing the value.
Cost is always a factor. How can building climate resilience into hospital supply chains be achieved in a cost-effective manner?
Yes, true, because sometimes we're building a climate resilient supply chain. It involves cost also in certain areas. That is the reason we have seen the case study also. There are 4 types of organizations in the 4 zones. And last I was presented a case study where it is a case study about mine session where the bamboo cladding is used as the interior, so that because it acts as a natural insulation, so that we are no need of any air conditioning in the main area where it observes. They'll be saving a huge electricity. They'll be saving the electricity.
Future is uncertain. How can hospitals develop contingency plans and response protocols to address unexpected climate disruptions affecting their supply chains?
Hospitals should have always a contingency plan to overcome any kind of challenges, whether it is a product supply, whether it is a process, whether it could be of anything, like power failure, for example, due to power outages also. Suppose in case if something's happened, what is going to be our plan B? Whether it is a HS, whether it is a manpower, whether it is a product, we should always have a alternate solution should be in, even in case if the equipment is not functioning, what should be the alternate solution? Whether we have any standby arrangements or whether we have any type with the other external providers. So a contingency plan is very much essential to overcome any kind of challenges, and which is very, very crucial for any healthcare organization to sustain and to provide uninterrupted patient care.
Building a culture of preparedness is essential. How can hospitals train their staff and leadership on best practices for managing climate risk within the supply chain?
Yeah, but Dr. Binod, can you just stop the presentation?
Right, sir.
Madam Parul, if you can just make me host, I can, or you can also, there is an option called stop presentation.
Okay, let me see.
If you can make me make me a host, then I can handle it. Just go to my profile and say make host. Okay, I can reclaim. Just hold on. Yeah, I've done it. Yes, I could do it. Yeah, proceed. Sir, Dr. Binod, you can proceed with the answer.
Let me repeat the question. So,
Yes,
building a
please.
culture. Yeah, building a culture of preparedness is essential. How can hospitals train their staff and leadership on best practices for managing climate risk within the supply chain?
Yes, cultural preparedness is essential to overcome such challenges that we face, especially when related to the climate-related events. A continuous training and program is required for all the healthcare workers, and a regular periodical and reinforced training sessions, particularly in supply chain, and especially in managing the, when I say in supply chain, about the best inventory management practices and reducing the mitigating the steps and process involved to mitigate the risk and to provide an uninterrupted supply of items to the various departments in the hospital. A continuous training needs to be provided to all the healthcare workers.
Sharing knowledge and best practices is crucial. What resources and initiatives would you recommend for hospitals to learn from each other and stay updated on climate resilient supply chain practices?
To stay updated, we can subscribe. The major way to keep updated is by subscribing the industry-specific publications and networking with other healthcare providers, and thereby we can share the best practices in the market and attending conferences, seminars, and attending the various management development and executive education programs of various institutions. So by following this, we can stay updated, and also staying updated with the regulations. That's more important, legal regulations and guidelines. That we can do it by periodically reviewing the government websites and attending the compliance training sessions conducted by various institutions. So by doing this, we can stay updated with the industry trend and the market trend.
Thank you, sir, for such an enlightening and inspiring session. As we continue to navigate the future of healthcare, your expertise will undoubtedly guide and motivate us. Thank you once again for your time and for contributing to this important discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.